G'day folks. Well, we seem to have a bit of a little car population going on here. This is a new addition to the family, a temporary addition. This one's sort of on its last legs. This is a 99 Daewoo Lanos. It's completely out of registration, so again for $1,000 plus just for the rego stuff and the roadworthy, plus all the necessary repairs, this one is probably not worth putting back on the road. Bit of a shame. It does drive nicely. Drives and shifts a lot better than the Micra does. It's a normal floor shift manual, but it's just one of those things, I guess. Yeah, I'm just trying to fix a misfire at the moment, just make it run properly. But yeah, just for the hell of it. It's a good thing I did buy new spark plugs, because that one disintegrated as I was trying to get it out. I think the socket tilted over and smashed the insulator though. It's bent. But it's a good thing I did get replacements. I don't know how bad they are yet, but we'll find out. This is just a single overhead cam, regular 8-valve engine, 1.6 litres I think. There's a 1.5 and a 1.6 variant. I think these are 1.6. Come on, get out. Damn you fine threads. Not too bad. Obviously not the cylinder that was misfiring. Anyway, I'll do the rest of them and find out. The new plugs have a slightly smaller nut, so they're a little bit different, but different maker. These ones are NGKRs. Well, they're the same. But this one has a V electrode, that one there's just a straight parallel electrode. So that's just a different variant. But yeah, that's what you get. $200 for a good car, well, workable car. It runs, it drives, it does everything a little car should, but it's just not registered. It makes funny noises, misfires, carries on. The exhaust's rusted out and noisy as hell. It's just one of those weird things. It'd be cool to pull this to bits though, get all the electronics and things out of it. No airbags unfortunately. Yeah, it's all polyethylene, or actually it's fairly hard, so it's probably ABS. That's polyethylene, or polypropylene, but that feels a lot harder and tinier. It's probably styrene. Because the hard part's getting rid of all this interior stuff. It's all a tip job, and you end up spending $100 at the dump just getting rid of it. The body can be cut up into pieces, or I just leave the wheels on it. I really want the rear beam axle and the front wheel hubs and everything, but then you can't get it onto a tandem trailer. So out comes the 9-inch grinder. Yes. Anyway, I'll continue doing these plugs and see what happens. I know it needs oil too. That's one thing I was going to do before I drove it here, but it's low. It's not out, but it's low. This thing's got air conditioning too. I don't know if it works, but it should, I think. I think they said it worked. This was my supervisor's old car. They just didn't have the money to keep it in registration and it ran out. Everything works. Yeah, not bad. But yeah, I guess I'll be scrapping this unless anyone on the Mornington Peninsula wants a paddock bomb. Have to bring a tandem trailer. I'm not leaving the temp reg on it. It'd just be a tow-away job once it leaves here, regardless of what happens to it. But I'm interested to see if this engine's stuffed or not. It did run fairly hot. It just sat hot in traffic and then started misfiring, so I don't know if it's blown between cylinders or if it's just cooked the ignition coils, because these are solid state coils right here. And heat, these things do not like, they do run hot, obviously being attached to the head, but they don't like excessive heat. They just die. So yeah, we'll find out for sure what that's all about. There's a hydraulic clutch actuator. Yeah, tippy sticky back in there. The drive shafts, the CV shafts or something on this is shot. If you accelerate whilst turning, particularly sharply, you feel a lot of grinding. Could also be a wheel bearing. It mainly does it in one direction. I can't remember which, but just like the band, it's horrifying. It's not nice. So yeah, let's get on with the spark plug replacement and then do a test run. And of course, if you do get an old car to pull to bits, you can get lots of cool stuff out of these new ones as well as old ones. Got nice 12-volt DC fans, single row radiator which holds liquid. I haven't touched that, it's been like that for the last couple of years and it's fine. Condenser coil, it's got the complete air conditioning system under there, down to there. Nice little warning cover over the TX valve block. You got gear motor for the wipers. That's a manifold absolute pressure sensor. There's no MAF meter or mass airflow meter. This is just manifold absolute pressure, just like the Ford EB that I have. There's no MAF meter on that. You get nice high tension coils, assuming they're all right. Injectors, which could be handy for a small engine injection project. Use a hall sensor to fire them off, hall sensor and a MOSFET, or something like that. This has a power steering rack in it and a power steering pump. Refrigerant compressor. There's loads of cool stuff. If it wasn't such a bastard to cut the thing up and manipulate all the pieces, I'd be scrapping this thing in a heartbeat. But I figured I'd offer it to anyone on the Mornington Peninsula who wants to just spend a few $100 on a bomb and have a bit of fun, but you have to tow it away or flatbed it or whatever. Likewise, you've got the hydraulics in the brakes, that sort of stuff. Wheel assemblies, lazy rear end axle, drive unit in here. Interesting stuff. Tiny little horn. Little cars are fun. They do their job. They're cheap, they're nasty. I won't say they're ever a good car, but they do their job. Honestly, without any glorification like some of the expensive brands like Peugeot. I don't like Peugeots. Or any I don't like much European stuff, I guess. They're just pretty much rubbish by today's standards. The Holden Barinas that were made by Opel aren't particularly good. The Astras were terrible. Yeah, got all the fuses. Lots of relays. You can make an oscillating relay and fire off its ignition coil. Little high voltage taser. Of course, you need an SLA battery in your pocket to power it. No, that's actually hardwired. That's a 80 amp fuse. It's got various contact markings on it. You probably can't see that because of the lighting. Anyway, lots of goodies to be had in scrap cars. What's this? Gates timing belt was installed at 172,000 in 2010. Oh, that's interesting. I was going to check that too. Yeah, it'll have a good belt. Only thing I'm curious about is why the side of this is getting chomped away by that pipe down there for the power steering. It's just getting rubbed through to a sharp edge. That's not supposed to be like that. So something's shifted. Maybe the whole engine's shifted, maybe a mount's failed. I don't know. It does make funny noises, like a failing belt tensioner or something, but it doesn't explain why that pipe's there. Refrigerant hoses, lots of that. Bent alloy lines. No, scrapping cars is fun. Unless you do it all day, every day as a job, in which case it'd probably get very boring. But as a hobbyist, if you can find an old like a late 90s hatchback like this, you can get loads of cool shit. Loads of it. It's sort of like the photocopier of the heavy mechanical world. It's just heavy, it's hard to move around, especially if it doesn't have wheels on it. But it's just packed full of goodies. Loads of goodies. You've got cables, you've got sensors, switches, there's a potentiometer on there. Yeah, what can I say? There's a pressure switch for the air conditioning system. That's a high side switch on the thin metal line. There'll be a low side one on the thicker metal line somewhere. Or on the compressor, usually on the compressor. Yeah, it's loads of stuff. Oh yeah, and if you ever do that while you're taking a plug out, break the insulator, stop and get the air gun out and get rid of that stuff before you spin it out. Because pieces of ceramic are probably one of the worst things you could drop down into the cylinder, because it will scrape the crap out of the cylinder walls if it gets stuck between the piston and the cylinder. So yeah, I probably should have blown some of that dirt out of there anyway, but that's nowhere near as bad as getting a bit of that in there. So yeah, keep an air gun handy. I'm going to blow the rest of this out after putting that plug back in a few turns. And yeah, keep it clean. Even if you think you're going to scrap the engine, just in case, take the extra step to be careful with it. But if you know you're going to scrap the engine, well, who cares? It's like that thing there. I know I'm going to be scrapping that, so yeah. There's no oil in it at the moment, and it probably won't ever have any. It was just making a mess with the top off anyway. And that's a Volkswagen Slant 4, or Volkswagen Audi. It's going to be 30 outside today, and it's already 45 coming off that security display, and 35.3 coming out of the computer case, and that's one of 3 computers. Oh, sorry, 2 at the moment, and 3 displays. So yeah, it's going to get hot in here. It's going to get hot outside too, so I'm thinking air conditioning, and yes, let's get this car done. I like the way the analog meters on this work. Still working fine. CPU amps and DC 12 volts. Still got my nameplates and things. The old electric motor. Okay, well, all those plugs look pretty good. Like, they're clean, they're not oiled. If this car was burning oil, I'd expect to see it all over one of the plugs or more, but it's not. One of the complaints from the previous owner was that it smelt like oil, but that's probably just the rocker cover seal. I noticed there's oil all over the side of the engine and the exhaust, so I'd say pretty good on that side of it. The misfire is probably going to be electronic, but of course I've been meaning to buy a decent compression tester with a hose on it, so that'll probably be next. I'll buy a proper compression tester with a remote hose so I can see it while I'm cranking it. Same as what Brad's got. He's got one with a flexible hose attached to it. Anyway, I guess better put the new ones in and see if it makes any difference. I doubt it looking at these, but who knows, one might be broken down inside. I'm getting warmer in here. Definitely got to put the air conditioning on. I don't even really need a security monitor today. I'm not waiting on any visitors or packages, so I might as well turn that off. That thing's just pumping out almost 50 degrees. Pretty nasty. That's looking better. I couldn't help but spend 20 minutes giving it a good clean. It was horrible before. Ugh, what a mess. Now let's see if it'll start, given the amount of water that's in here. Probably not. You gave everything else a bit of a wash. Not that it's really necessary, it doesn't matter. Got rid of half the musty old car smell, I can give it that much. Still got to fix the mould in the carpet down there. I mean, it's not a bad little runabout. It's a damn shame it's so expensive to bloody put them back on the road again. Yeah, same as always. Water or not. Let's see if the air conditioning works. Throttle's a bit sticky. It's getting a little bit cooler, but definitely not working very well. Might take a while. I gotta love it in a car with power steering. AC is barely there. Well, everything seems to be working okay. until I get a compression tester anyway and find out what's really going on. But ignition wise it seems to be working fine. It's not a full misfire, but it's there. It's not doing very well, but even as soon as you get the revs up, everything's fine. So I'm going to pull all this apart and clean it and make it all nice and good. But I just changed the oil filter while it's hot. Good old French NBC suit gloves, which are a lightly lined leather glove, perfect for nice hot oil filters. Again, only spin them on by hand. Just about that. There we go. That's on. Do not use a wrench and just reef the hell out of it. But yeah, the oil in this engine's not happy. It's like a diesel engine oil. It is hot, but it's very thin too. It's got a standard General Motors filter on it, which is still very hot. Not good. Poor little thing. Even Dad agrees that it's a good thing to keep on the road instead of destroying, since it's so straight. It's never been picked apart, it's never been repaired, never had a frontal accident. Everything is completely untouched. It hasn't even left the Mornington Peninsula. It was sold by Mornington Daewoo. Yeah. Again, this car's never been smashed, never had an engine change. It's all virgin. But the engine, well, we'll find out as I go through the diagnostic process.